Hello, this is Victor. I'm here with a new battle report. This time it's going to be Bretonnia versus Wood Elf, 2000 points. This is another game that is part of the league that I'm playing in the Games Workshop in Brussels. And remember that here we don't have any limitations in terms of type of units you can use, so we don't have the percentage limitations. So the only limitation is that your army have to cost 2000 points, and you have to follow the restrictions of the units and the quantity of objects the heroes can take, but there is no restriction, so you can use more than 50% if you want on heroes or characters, or use more than 25% on unique units and singular units. So let's first make a look to the list. So in the case of Bretonnia, I'm playing with two, is the army that I'm playing. I'm playing with two Bretonnian lords. So I have the one Lord General that is on horse, full equip, with the Virtue of Heroism, the Gombril, Great Helm, and the Sword of Swift Slaying. Then I have a Prophetess level 4, and the other Bretonnian Lord goes in a Hippogriff with the Real Shield, the Lance of Artois, the Virtue of the Just, and the Dragon Helm. The level 4 goes with the Crow of Command and the Dispel Scroll. Then I have a Paladin that is VSV with the Virtue of the Impetuous Knight, Enchanted Shield, and Tormentor Sword. I have a Paladin with the Warrior Bane, the Luckstone, and the Charm Shield. It's just a Paladin to put in one of the units. Then I have a unit of 9 Knights of the Realm with the Banner of Swiftness, with full command. Then I have another Knights of the Realm that have only the banner and the champion, 14 bowmen and 3 Pegasus. So as you can see, I don't have trebuchets, I don't have any trebuchet painted, and so this is the reason that I'm not using them. And yeah, I'm using a lot of lords and heroes, so let's see how it's working. Then I'm playing against Wood Elves, and the list of elves is that he has a Spellweaver, who is the general of the is the general of the army. Level 4, the spell scroll and the talisman of preservation is the 4 plus the guard save. Then he has the Glade Captain that is going to be the BSV and have the banner that at the beginning of the battle and will cause a wound, will cause a hit of with strength 3 or 4 on my general. Then have the Waste Stalker as another hero, and he have 15 Glade Guard, 2 units of 5 Glade Riders. One Dark Elf Chariot is the one that have the shooting weapon of strength 7. Then 29 Willwood Rangers, 10 Deepwood Scouts, 3 Warhawk Riders, and 9 Way Watchers. So yeah, and we go to the deployment. So as you can see, there are 2 buildings in this battlefield, and yeah, we have some ruins in my deployment zone, then a big ruins in the middle of the battlefield, and 2 forests. So this is making the approaching ways quite narrow, and this is why I decided at the end to separate my lenses. So I put the Pegasus completely to the left, then the unit of knights and that I will try to go around the ruins. I put the hero on the griffin on the hippogriff just in front of the ruins to be able to bounce him to the left or to the right depending what is needed. The archers, and then I have the other unit, and the unit in the right that is next to the ruins is the one that have the general, the BSV, and the prophetess. And the other paladin goes just in the unit that is in my left flank. Here we see the deployment of the Wood Elf. The 2 units that are close to the camera are not deployed yet. They are scouts, and he didn't deploy the scouts yet in that point. So you see that the Wildwood Guardians are with great weapons are deployed more or less centered. The hawks are not seen but are next to the building at the bottom of the picture, and the Glade Guard is in the building. He has 2 units that can scout. One unit have the how it's called, the Way Stalker is with the Way Stalker is with the Way Watchers. The BSB is with the I'm checking. The BSB is within the Wildwood Rangers, and then the general, the level 4, is in the building with the Glade Guard. He has 2 units of Glade Riders also waiting to ambush. So here we have this is the deployment of the Wood Elves. So you see the chariot I was missing. So this is how he deployed, and in the building there is the Glade Guard, and this is the deployment of the Wood Elf before deploying the scouting units. So he completely denied one flank, and he concentrated all his units in his left flank. And this is another overview before he started deploying the scouts. Then he deployed the scouting units. And you see in the picture he deployed the Way Watchers quite aggressively, very close to my lines. Here in the wood that is just in front, and he's deploying the other unit, the Deep Wood Scouts, just behind the ruins, so to face my Pegasus and my Lance of Knights. Here another picture of the deployment of the Scouts. We go to the Vanguard movement, and of course I move as much as I can with my Pegasus to the front, and he do the same with the Hawk Riders. And this is how it's looking like the battlefield before the turn 1. Another shot of the battlefield. And we go into turn 1 for the Wood Elves. I decide to pray, so I give the turn 1 to the Wood Elves. So he moved and the Hawks quite aggressively to my flank, and he is in a position that is out of my line of sight for my lance. And then he back up a little bit with the scouts, as you can see at the bottom of the picture. This is a shot of the battlefield after his movement, not a lot. This is a shot from from the side of the table. Then in the magic phase, he throw it's called the Meteor of Cassandra here in the front of my line. So yeah, I decided to let it go because I was more concerned on other type of spells, and yeah, as I'm planning to move away from this position, so I'm not too much concerned. And if it's exploding, it's going to be bad luck. But yeah, I let it go because I want to keep my Dispel Scroll, and he threw a lot of dice and with a very high roll. So I decided that I will try to dispel what I completely fail in dispelling. Here we see the token of the Meteor of Cassandra in the middle. Then in the shooting phase, all the shooting of his army except the Way Watchers managed to kill one of my knights, but then the Way Watchers shot at the same lance and they kill five knights. So I lost 6 knights in this lance. And we go into turn 1 for Bretonnia. So I decided to charge straightforward the Way Watchers. I think he killed 2 more of my knights in the stand and shoot, because you see that there is only the standard beer. I decide to kill the paladin and keep my standard. Uh, Later on I'll do the mistake, but yeah, I will explain this later on. And yeah, and I managed to charge. I was thinking that I was out of line of sight of, so my, I think is I'm out of line of sight of the hawks, so I want to avoid them, and I think it's a good position. But then the chariot that is just behind the forest can have a very nice charge into my knights. So here the movement of the charge. So to protect the lands that I just charged, I move my hippogriff next to the lance in order that if he wants to charge, my hippogriff is in the way, so the chariot is forced to charge into my hippogriff. On the other flank, I move forward, I march at max speed as I can. The lance, I put it here next to the ruins, and the Pegasus, I just fly them behind the forest in a way that in the next turn I can charge the flank of the scouts if he's not moving. Here is how the charge plus the hippogriff trying to protect the lance and the other flank. Then it goes to magic phase. The meteor of Cassandra explodes, kills some of my bowmen, and the bowmen lost the so fail into the panic check and start running away from the battlefield. So we cannot expect more from these peasants. In my magic phase I have 4 dice, so I decide to do 2 dice to do Flash to Stone, and I managed to do Flash to Stone on my hippogriff, and then with the other 2 dice I was quite lucky and I managed to wreck both. And I wreck both 4 wounds, so I wreck both 2 knights. In that way I have again the paladin and the musician in the unit. So this is how it's looking like after the magic phase. Of course I don't have shooting because my only shooting unit decided to run away after the explosion of the Meteor of Kazan. Then in close combat I kill so I make run the Way Watchers. I decide to pursue, I catch them and I kill them, and yeah, and I lost 2 knights in the dangerous terrain. So this time I decide to kill the banner and the musician, and this was a mistake. I think I should keep the banner because this is a swift banner that gives +1 to movement, but okay. This was a small mistake. So now the unit is composed by the BSB, the general, the paladin, the champion of the unit, and the prophetess. This is a shot who's looking like at the end of my turn 2. Here is when I realized that maybe the griffin was not needed to be there, because if I overrun I run out, but it was just in case I cannot overrun, so at least the hippogriff was protecting my lands. And here is how it's looking like in the other flank. And we go now into turn 2 for the Wood Elves. So this is the die that we use to, and it's helping me to remind that we are in turn 2. So the Wood Elf and the Chariot charge my hippogriff. And then here I was in range and I was not out of line of sight of the Willwood Rangers, and they charge to the flank of my general. Of the unit, they charge to the flank of my general because it's the miniature that is in that flank, and of course the prophetess that is on the second row, and is not in that picture, but the hawks will also charge the back of my hippogriff. Looks like they are not in line of sight, but when we check it, they had line of sight with the hippogriff and they charge there. Yeah, in the other flank, I think he decides to back up a little bit or just stand and just to be there and try to shoot and make some casualties with the shooting. Little bit of view of the after the movement of the turn. 2 of Wood Elves. Then the Wood Elf went into magic, and yeah, he tried 2 spells, but I managed to dispel them too. So his magic didn't work in the turn 2. Here is what I was explaining. The Hawks charge the back. When he tries to do the spells, and I between the dispel scroll and the dice, I managed to dispel all what he tried. And the shooting, I don't think managed to do much damage to me. I think the shooting also was not very strong, so yeah, I don't think he did a lot of damage in the shooting. Here an overview just before the combat. And then in the close combat, he decided to start with the combat with the Hippogriff. I lost by 4, something like that, and I couldn't pass my leadership test. I even repeating, so I ran away. He catch me, kill my Hippogriff, and yeah, and in the other combat, I decided to do a challenge. In that way, most of the unit couldn't attack me because the only miniature in base contact with the Wildwood Rangers was my general. My general killed the BSB because he's the one that accepted the challenge from the Wood Elves. So my general killed the BSB with a killing blow, and then he killed my prophetess. So it was not very nice turn 2. So I lose one of my Lords of Bretonnia on Hippogriff, and I lost my level 4. So I'm without magic for the rest of the battle. And this is the situation after the turn 2. Luckily, my general is, although they lose by 4, I managed to pass my leadership test, so my general stand in combat. So and in that flank, yeah, I expect to do some damage now in turn 2. You see the Hawk and the Chariot that just overran my Hippogriff are now in range of charge of my lance. Overview at the end of the turn 2 of the Wood Elves. And now we go into turn 2 for Bretonnia. So yeah, I forgot to put here the title, but this is what happened in turn 2 of Bretonnia. I charge with the lance to the Hawks, and I charge with the Pegasus to the flank of the Scouts. I think they're called Scouts, so it's how they're called. Yeah, the Deepwood Scouts. So, as you can see in the picture. Of course, no magic and no shooting from my side. The bowmen just ran out of the battlefield, so this turn I didn't manage to regroup them, and they ran out. And as my prophetess was killed in the previous turn, yeah, she's dead. I forgot to mention at the end of the turn 2, as he killed my prophetess, I decided not to reform. So my general is the only miniature in base contact with the Wildwood Rangers, and yeah, and I will try to issue another challenge because he has a champion. Then I start with the close combat with the Pegasus. I kill a bunch of Scouts. He hits a double one to stun, and he rolls a double one. So yeah, I get a stack against the Scouts there. And now the Chariot will have a very nice charge into my Pegasus. So here the picture. So then we go into I decide to do the combat of the lance against the Hawks. I think I killed one of the Hawks. I don't think he did any damage to me in return. So I went for a bunch between the standard, the ranks, and the wounds that I did. They ran away. I catch them, so I kill them, and then I crash the back of the Wildwood and Rangers. So now we are going to do the combat of the Wildwood Rangers with a lance charging his backward. Here we have the picture before doing the last combat in my turn 2. So it's going to be a very bloody battle. So in this combat I kill some elves. I think he did just one wound in return to me. Yeah, my general completely killed the champion because I launched another challenge. He accepted, but they stack in combat because they have stand fast. They have more ranks than me, so they are in combat. And I decide to reform in that way. In next turn, my BSB, the champion of the unit, and the general will be in combat. So I decide to reform and to face the Wildwood Rangers. As usual, we have these dice to remind that we are in turn 3. So the chariot, as expected, and charge into my Pegasus. Will be no shooting because all my units are engaged in combat, so he cannot shoot to any of my units. See now the picture. He moved the Glade Guard out of the building, and then he launched a malediction where I have to repeat the 6s in the unit of the general. But even with this malediction, I managed to win for a bunch to the Wildwood Elves. They ran away. I decided to. Here it was funny because I decided to pursue with one of the lances, and I decided to restrain with my general. I failed 2 times the leadership of my general to restrain, so he pursued. First, I roll the distance of my lance, and I roll a triple 1, so I only moved 3 inches. But my general that I want to restrain at the end didn't pass the leadership to restrain, chase and kill the Wildwood unit, the Wildwood Rangers unit, and they ran out of the battlefield. As you can see, they are running. I forget to explain at the beginning, but we are playing in a table that is 4x4 instead of the 6x4 that is the standard. It's a little bit smaller due to the shop constraints. So my general just ran out of the battlefield with the rest of the unit. Here you see the picture, and then next turn, this is the battle next to us, just for the picture, and next turn I will come back from this point. In the other close combat, the impacted killed one of my knights, and then I killed some scouts, and we get stuck in combat. I think was a tie, it was a duo. At that point, I did 2 wounds, and he did 2 wounds to me, or he did 1 wound plus charge, something like that. So it was a duo. And we go into the turn 3 for Bretonnia. You can see a lot of kills just in 2 turns. So turn 3, I reform my knights, so they are there. I will reform them to face. I think it's going to be seen in the next picture. I reform my knights, as you can see here in the picture. And then my general with the rest of the unit, the BSB, came from the battlefield. The BSB is instead in between the two, the general and the paladin of the unit, but because it's a little bit, there is some slope there, was falling down, so I decided to put just next to there, but it's in the unit, they are together, so I didn't split, because you cannot split when you return from out of the board. And I decided to put the other lance in the way that he can face the Glade Guard and can face the Glade Riders, in case I can choose where to charge in the next turn. The Pegasus in the close combat finally killed the Scots. As the chariot was not more in contact with the Pegasus, he just was there watching the combat. And yeah, and the last survivor escaped from my Pegasus. So only one Scout have survived. He will run out of the battlefield later on, so it's not of more interest. And here we see, yeah, this elf there is running away, and then next turn will run out of the board. Picture at the end of the turn 3 for Bretonnia. Now the battle starts going very fast. We go into turn 4 for the Wood Elves. I forgot to mention, yeah, the dice. I forgot to mention in the previous turn that one of the Glade Riders arrived, and then in turn 4 arrived the second unit of Glade. So as you can see in the picture, the Glade Riders just arrive, and then the other one is arriving where you see the small yellow arrow on the left of the picture. So all them remain very the edge. The chariot turn. I think they try to focus and shoot to everybody, and in the shooting, I think they didn't manage to do a single one. Or yeah, I think I was quite lucky with the saves, and I think they didn't manage to do a single wound to any of my units. So the shooting was completely useless from the Wood Elves. And then in the magic, he used the tornado to move my unit back d6 plus 2 inches. He moved my general back 3 inches, but it was a miscast, and then as a result of the miscast, he lost all the rest of the dice from the Winds of Magic, and he received a wound. He threw 8 in the miscast table, so was losing d6 power dice. So yeah, was quite lucky that the shooting and the magic didn't damage my army too much. Then I decide to charge, as you can see here in the picture. So I decide to charge with the lance to the Glade Riders, and then my Pegasus assault the Pegasus unit, assault the Glade guard, and the general with the rest. They also managed to charge the Glade guard. He decided to stand and shoot, and he killed one of my Pegasus. So what he didn't manage to do in a full turn of shooting in the previous turn, now he killed one Pegasus just with the stand and shoot in my turn. This was looking like after the charges were done. Yeah, another picture. You see that the two Glade Riders are very close to the edge. I kill I make the Glade Riders to run out of the battlefield. I restrain. I manage to pass the leadership, and I reform, as you can see here. So yeah, the idea is to see what they do with the Glade Riders, and if not, see if I can charge the chariot. And in the other combat, I also win. The Glade Guard ran out of the battlefield. I decide to restrain with the general and the unit of the general. They are reforming, as you can see, and I chase with the Pegasus, and the Pegasus ran out of the battlefield. And this is the situation at the end of turn 4 for Bretonnia. Picture. And we go to the turn 5 for the Wood Elves. Here, the arrow is moved in place. The Glade Riders just decide to charge the front of my lance. Here we have a debate if it was better for him just to try to avoid the combat in any way, to run out of my front view or something like that. But at the end he decided to charge, and he back up a little bit with the chariot and to be able to shoot at my general unit. Then in the shooting phase he killed my BSB with a lucky shot. He needs a 6 to hit with the strength 7 and these 3 wounds, and he killed my BSB. And in the close combat happened what I was expecting. The Glade Guard, I think, didn't manage to make a single wound to me, and I just killed 2 or 3 of them. They ran away and catch them, so I overran them, and I ran quite a lot that I was completely and over the chariot. So I didn't touch the chariot because they were not aligned, but I just ran next to the chariot. And we go to turn 5 for Bretonnia. So I didn't declare any charge because I was too far or I was not in the right position. So I just reformed one of the lances you can see, and the general just moved a little bit to the front to look at the chariot. No, it's only the general, and the paladin of the unit, the BSB, was killed by the lucky shot of the bolt on the chariot. We go to turn 6 for the Wood Elves. No, it's going very fast. He tried to shoot again to my general, but this time he failed. So he didn't manage to hit. He also shoot with the fast crossbows, but didn't manage to do a single wound to me. And of course we go to turn 6 for Bretonnia. I just charge and I kill the chariot. So yeah, I think now I see the picture that maybe I was too much to the edge, but even the general with the paladin killed the chariot. So no problem there. I just charge and the chariot was killed. This is just to show that the chariot was killed in this combat. So no Wood Elf on the battlefield. So this means that is a Bretonnian victory. So then here we have on different points. I want to show the next picture to show how we do the points. So you have points depending how many charges you did. You have points depending how many kills of the general, and then you have points depending on the painting, the next of the painting, and then you have points per character kill, and then finally you have the victory points. So in total, yeah, here puts 20, but I have indeed 27 to 16 points. So yeah, was a victory and a good bunch of points for me in the league. And that's all. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this battle report, and please, if you want to see more, keep tuned to this channel. Thanks a lot for watching. Leave your comment below and see you again later. Bye.